Hey, what's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate y'all checking out the channel. We're gonna do a quick video here. You hear on the interwebs everywhere. What's the cheapest thermal? What's the best thermal you can get for the money? I'm gonna go over my thermal setup here. What we're gonna be running this year. It's probably, in my opinion, the most budget-friendly thermal setup you can find. There's not many cheaper options out there, I don't think. First off, before we get started, all my thermals I bought from Night Vision Universe. Bruce Nolan out there runs a good shop, and I haven't found a cheaper dealer out there. So I recommend Night Vision Universe. You can buy with confidence from them. Some of the thermal websites, they look kind of sketchy to me. Yeah, check out Night Vision Universe. He's on Facebook. You know, he's on the internet. Bruce Nolan's the name, and definitely a good guy to do business with. No worries, take care of you. Yeah, good guy to do business with. Highly recommended. But so thermals and budget, they don't really go hand in hand. But you know, you can go as crazy as you want on thermals, and there's some cheaper ones that really don't get good reviews. I almost went with some ATN stuff, but just the reviews online just really steered me away from it. We live way out in the sticks, and we don't have internet, so having to have something where you gotta get online and constantly be updating your scope, that was an out for me. I don't want nothing to do with that. So in my research, I found this FLIR. The FLIR PTS Pro 233 is what I'm running, and it's just been out of the box. I haven't had to do anything with it. I've taken it out of the box, mounted it on the rifle, zeroed it, and that's it. So, you know, I've hooked it up to the computer just to pull video off it. That's it. I haven't done any updates. I don't even know if there's updates out there for it, but it's ran. I've had no issues with it. From hot summer days, you know, checking on critters out here at the farm, to you know, well below zero. You know, February, March coyote hunting. It's ran like a champ. I haven't had any problems with it. But I got that thermal for just right under $2,000. So, you know, you gotta spend a little money, and you can go as crazy as you want on thermals, but for a good budget-friendly scope, in my opinion, that FLIR PTS Pro 233 is gonna be your ticket. Unfortunately, FLIR is not making thermal scopes anymore. So I did just check online, and there are some still you can buy from different places that are new. There's used ones online, but that's the problem there. There is a company called AGM that, to my knowledge, are the guys that left FLIR Outdoor Line, opened up their own company. And if you look at the AGM stuff, it resembles the FLIR stuff. So AGM Thermal Scopes I have not used. I do have the AGM little scanner here we're going to go over, but supposedly the AGM is the old FLIR guys. So there's always that option. The AGM stuff seemed to be a little more expensive, but more updated than the FLIR scopes. So you could go that route, but we're going to talk about what we got here. So the 233, and I think any thermal scope out there, you're going to want the option to run an external battery. you know, most of them take those 123s and they just burn through the batteries, and you're going to spend a fortune on batteries. So I recommend having something that can be powered off the external. This is an Anker Power Core Mini that I've got on the side of that FLIR there. It's just mounted in a, it's a light mount for an old Coyote Reaper light back when we used to run lights. But it should mount up in any 1-inch scope rings. I would say you probably want to run like a QD ring on there just so you can pop it off and charge it easier. But the Power Core Mini, it'll last weekends of hunting. I've never actually even had it go dead on me, but it'll last a really long time. And then it's got an LED light on the back of it, which is actually how you turn it on. You push that little LED and that turns that battery on. That LED is really bright at night, and it changes colors with battery usage, so it'll change colors to let you know the state of the battery. So I just keep a little bit of electrical tape on there just to cover up that LED. But other than that, the FLIR scope comes with an American Defense Manufacturing QD mount, and I don't know if you all are familiar with the Agm, but they make really solid, really good mounts. And the scope itself you can program for 3 rifles, and as long as you put it back in the same spots on your rail there, I've had 0 issues with return to 0. I've got that thermal set up for 3 different rifles. I mainly run it on my Rock River Arms ATH here, but I've also got it set up for a Ruger 1022 and a Ruger American Predator 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, in my opinion, this mount is more set up for an AR style rifle. It sits up really high on the 1022 and the Predator, so you don't get a really good cheek weld. You're more sitting with a chin weld on those rifles. But I think it was probably designed to be run on an AR style rifle. But yeah, that FLIR scope is just, it's been money. Had no issues with it, and I think for the budget-friendly guys, you can't beat it. I mean, detection range it's out there. I've detected raccoons at probably 400 yards. When you can't ID at 400 yards, you know, just off picture, but after you've done it a while, you can ID animals off their characteristics, how they're acting in the field. You know, the coons eventually climbed a tree, so that was how I could ID that they were coons. But deer, coyotes, you know, I've watched them come in 400-600 yards. Actual ID range for the coyotes, I would say you're going to be in that 200-yard range before you can get a positive ID on them. You know, again, watch your animal characteristics to determine if it's a dog or a coyote. One of the things I like about some of the other scopes like Pulsar's, they've got the picture-in-picture. So you've got like a really zoomed in small spot in your picture. And I did see that it looks like the AGM lines have that. That is a pretty sweet option to have. This scope here is like a 1.5 to 6 digital zoom, and it basically, it's for you guys that don't run thermals, it's basically like a digital camera, so it just blows up the picture and it'll get grainy at 6x. I run it unzoomed most of the time. all my shots are taken at the 1.5. You know, you want to make sure, or I want to make sure that the coyotes are within 100 yards for me is my comfort range with the thermal, for positive ID and just shot placement on that. So yeah, that's the thermal that I'm running on the rifle there, and then like I said, I've ran that for 2.5 seasons now, and I have no qualms about recommending that scope. The rifle I've had for years, and it's a really good rifle. So one of the new things this year that I'm running is this bipod. The bipod I got from Night Goggles, and it's the Night Stalker bipod with the ShadowTech pig saddle. One of the things that I was looking for bipods was the ability to swap rifles on it pretty easy. And some of the companies, they make you buy a plate that you mount to your handguard to snap into that ball head. And this setup here just was what I was after. And this is a really solid bipod. Bipods are another place where you can spend a ton of money on. So far, this guy here has been a really good bipod. It's carbon fiber, so it's light. I think the mount there probably weighs just about as much as the bipod itself. The ShadowTech bipod is made in the USA. It is all metal construction, which is something I was after, and it's got like rubber. It's got rubber on the inside of it there, and you just clamp down on this, and that thing. When we were sighting in the kids' 20 gauge semi-automatic shotgun, we clamped it in there, and it just don't move. It'll hold as solid as you can get it. So that was one of the things I was after, was something that would take a clamp style to hold your rifle in there. And I carried this. I just threw the bipod and rifle over my shoulder last night when we hunted out back here. No movement. It's just solid, just a solid setup. So this thing's gonna work out really nice. And I like this style ball head, where it's got the one knob down here to adjust, you know, the roll of the rifle there. I like that setup compared to like the knob. Some of them have like a clamp lever that you just throw. I like this one-handed, you know. So that worked out really good. And it's got the 3 legs adjustment. You can get that thing up way high. Then you got this here. That's how I fine tune it. Usually I'm hunting with my daughters, so they're a little bit shorter than I am. So I'll run the legs up to where it's comfortable for them to shoot at, and then from there I use the center collar to raise it up for myself. That way, if we're swapping, you know, they want to jump on the gun for a little bit, we just drop that center collar. The bipod itself, like I said, I got from Night Goggles, and it was $330 for the bipod. And there are bipods out there 2, 3 times, 4 times, and you can spend a ton of money on bipods and heads. So for a decent budget friendly bipod, I don't think you can beat this Night Stalker. Carbon fiber, like I said, it's pretty light. And so far, been happy with it. Another new item that we're going to run this year, and this is that Agm monocular that we were just talking about. It's the Asp Micro Tm160. It come in, I think retails like $530. I got it from Night Vision Universe, just under $500. So for just under $500, I personally don't think you can get a better monocular, thermal monocular. you know, keep in mind that it's a $500 monocular. It doesn't even compare with the image quality of that flare, or the detection range or recognition range. But for a scanner, you know, it advertises for a detection range, which is what we all want to know, right? All the other numbers, whatever. It's got a rechargeable battery. They claim a 7-hour runtime. I've only charged it twice. I charged it once when I got it, and then I charged it Friday night before we went out, and we hunted Friday night and Saturday night with this. You know, just a couple hours of runtime each night, and it still shows a full charge. It's not super cold here yet. It was like 34 degrees probably. But it claims a 7-hour runtime on that rechargeable battery, but it also you can also power it with an external battery. There's no pick rail or anything on it to mount it, but it does have that like the camera, the 1/4-inch bolt bipod like adapter. You know, it would actually thread into this head if you wanted it to. So I may end up doing something, putting a little rail on here or something to run an external battery. We'll see how it lasts, but you know, as a scanner, it's going to work out fine. The detection range that AGM claims, it'll claim, it's got 2 different claims, vehicle and human. So detection range for a vehicle, it says 611 yards. And recognition range for a human, it says 50 yards. Now, we were watching deer last night at roughly 150 yards, and you could tell it was deer with this. And I would say, you know, as a scanner, just knowing that there's something out there, you know, 200 yards is probably what you're looking at. If you were wanting to actually, you know, get recognition with this, I would agree you're probably 100 yards and less. 50 yards, 50-yard recognition range on human, they're being pretty really conservative. I had my dogs, which they're St. Bernards, but at 100 yards I could tell that it was a canine. So they were really conservative on that. I would say, I mean, a human detection easily would be 100 yards, but that's their claim. And resolution on this is 160. That's where they get the 160 TM160. They do have, I think it's a 384 or something is the next bump up from this, which would actually give you better resolution than my scope, and it was right around 1500 if I remember right. So you know, 3 times as much as this guy. The main purpose on this was just a scanner when I'm hunting, you know, with a buddy or myself. The main purpose was around the farm. You know, we get a lot of, the dogs will start barking at night and there's coons or possums or whatever trying to get in with the chickens. So I wanted something that we could grab where we didn't always have to grab the gun. The kids, you know, they like to come out and see what's going on too. So that was the main purpose of this. And then also when the girls come with me when we're night hunting, it's pretty boring for them to sit there in the dark and not know what's going on. So for the purpose that I bought this, I'm satisfied with it. It's got a few, I think 3 or 4 or 5 different palettes on it. It's a zoom on this guy is 1:4, and one of the cool things on this you can actually do a distance measurement with it. It's kind of cumbersome, so it ain't something you're gonna do, you know, by yourself if you're hunting. You know, if you had the second person there, they could do distance measurements for you. It's pretty accurate so far. It displays in meters instead of yards, but you know, it's pretty close enough for me anyway for a swag shot. But I'll do a full review of what I think this thing, how it worked out for us for this season. But like I said, for $500 thermal, so far we're happy with it. So yeah, we'll see how it holds up, what the battery life is on it. You know, the claim of 7 hours. We'll see how that actually holds up. Yeah, for something, if you're just gonna run this around your farm, or you know, even checking traps with this thing, I think it's gonna work out pretty good. So we'll do a full breakdown on that guy there. But so far, like I said, for $500, you can't really beat it. So we went through all that. Now the collar I'm using, I've used this. This will be the second season on this collar. It's the Foxpro Fusion, and I bought it right from Foxpro, so I had the sounds loaded that I wanted on it. That's a pretty good way to go. They actually called me. They called me like a year after I bought it just to see how I was liking it. So I thought that was pretty cool. One of the guys from Foxpro. So before I used the Fusion, I had the Wildfire and used that for years. The speaker just started to kind of get distorted on it, and I could have sent that to Foxpro and they'd have fixed it or done whatever. But I wanted to upgrade mostly because of the remote. This remote is night and day over the remote on that Wildfire. It's the Tx1000 Remote, and the remote to me is what really makes this call super user friendly. The buttons, you know, they're actually extend away from the remote on it. Everything lights up, and it's got like the little quick buttons on the side. Really a nice remote, and you'll find when you're hunting in the cold with gloves on, remote usability is big. So this guy here works really good with gloves on. And the Fusion's got the 2 speakers, and it gets out there, it calls, or it's really loud, way louder than that Wildfire I had. I just get one of these, I think they're like Night Eyes wire ties. I just put that on there so you can wrap that around tree branches or whatever. It's just easier to hang this up in trees and on fence posts, on fence, everything like that. I like to get the call up off the ground a little bit, so you can. I think the sound travels better when you got it up off the ground. And the Bipod, it's got a little hook on it. You can actually hang the call right on your Bipod there. I don't know if that's in camera or not, but it's got a little hook on that center collar. You can hang the call on that. But I like to put it out about, I don't know, 20, 30 feet in front of me or off to the side there where I can get it up off the ground on something. I run lithium batteries in the calls, and the battery life on the Fusion isn't awesome, but you'll get you'll get a few weekends out of the batteries. One of the things I wish this call had was like a battery indicator. The remote has an indicator, and the batteries in the remote will last seasons. In between seasons, I pull out the battery and take that little clip off so that they're not connected to the call or the remote. But I wish the call itself actually had a battery indicator. Now, it's got a little LED on the front here that when your batteries are getting close to dying, it'll start flashing. But it don't give you much warning. So one of the things I think Foxpro could really improve on is a battery indicator on the call itself. That would be helpful. But yeah, so that's the setup that I'm running here. Like I said, I'll do another full breakdown, especially on the stuff that's new at the end of the season. But that's what we're running out here. So hopefully try to get some videos of us out actually hunting. I don't know. We'll see how that all goes. Making videos while I'm hunting is usually a second thought. So I may end up pulling video off the thermals and doing it that way. And that's another thing that FLIR has that I don't even have set up on it. It's got like a shot activated recording. It'll record back. I think it's a setting you can put in there 10 or 15 seconds prior to the shot. It'll record for you. Or you can just hit the center button up here on the thermal. Whoa. Just about did a durability test on that one. That's another thing I like about this is the menu buttons up here are really easy to use even with gloves on. But you just tap that twice and it'll record for you. That's just one of those things I never remember to do either. So we'll try and get some video for you guys this season. If you've never thermal hunted coyotes, man, it's a blast. It is so much fun, which is why I got into it as big as it did. The kids have a blast. If you've got another guy or two with thermals or night vision, really helps out. One of the things with thermals, weather conditions will really affect your image quality. Snow or rain it'll hose you. And that's where like night vision shines through. So, you know, if you got another guy with night vision and a guy with thermal, you're set up really well. I don't have any night vision. I went all thermal. But yeah, so I hope to get some more videos out to you guys and with the thermal hunting. So take care, and we'll talk to you guys later.